We have been seduced by science and technology into believing that we exist solely in a physical world, one that we can measure, we can manipulate, we can weigh it. And we see ourselves, and we have them for a long, long time, as being at the center of the universe. Hello, welcome once more to my channel. And today I'd like to share with you about the hidden forces which are hijacking human empathy. So it's going to be a bit of a mixture because to make sense of this, I'm going to have to speak from various angles so we can get to the heart of the matter. We have been seduced by science and technology into believing that we exist solely in a physical world, one that we can measure, we can manipulate, we can weigh it. And we see ourselves, and we have them for a long, long time, as being at the center of the universe. To our eyes, clearly, the universe revolves around us. You know, even when you have these amazing telescopes that show you galaxies in the far, far distance, they're all moving away from us because we are at the center, right? And so science, now that we're so technologically savvy, it tells us we're born from nothing, and when we die, there's nothing. At least that's how the story goes, right? And now they get people into, I am an atheist, I believe in God. You know, everybody takes an opinion, but nobody knows anything. But at least the ones who believe in God, believe in something that there is more to us. The atheists say, well, no, that's all there is to us. Fine. However, one of the questions of science is how old is the universe? And so we have generated a theory for that, which is that there was once a Big Bang, about 13 or so billion years ago. How do they know? They haven't got a clue, right? But because the world, we have to make sense of the universe. It has to begin somewhere. Even the religious people say, well, once upon a time, God made the heavens and the earth. So we have a beginning. And so the Big Bang, the scientists, what can they do? They've been brought up as Christians, so they have to go along. So yeah, there was a beginning, but we don't believe in God. So therefore, there was a Big Bang 13 billion so years ago. What can you say? They must be right. Are they? Because if I say, well, what was there before that? Well, before that, no idea, sorry. Because we are limited by our own hubris. It leaves us with a dead world, a dead universe, bereft of meaning or purpose. I'm sure that the ones who don't believe in God say, well, there's plenty of meaning and purpose in my life. Maybe they're right, I don't know. But for the rest of us, let me offer a different perspective, which Charlie shared with me quite a few years back. So, there is an old occultist adage: as above, so below, so below, so above, which in a way means that if you have two mirrors facing each other, you can see the reflection fracturing itself, repeating itself onto infinity, as long as you can clearly, it's not a straight thing, so you can only see so far, but you see what I mean. Now, I am a channel for an intelligence which is way above my pay grade. Okay. I don't know why I have the connection, but I do. And anyway, I call him Charlie because I don't take myself too seriously. And he doesn't mind. He appreciates my irreverence. And this is an important part of who I am, because you need to be irreverent if you're to be detached from the stories everyone tells us as to what life's all about and why we're here, etc., etc. Anyway, so Charlie, years back, he told me the story. And is it the truth? You'll have to make up your own mind whether it resonates with you or not. The physical universe of matter that we experience all around us exists within an infinite space. There is no beginning and there is no end. See, we tend to think of the universe in terms of the matter within it. But the matrix on which the universe, on which all the matters, all the galaxies, all the stars, the matter on which everything sits, flows, is finite. Okay. Matter is finite, but the structure is infinite. And so this, we can only see so far with the telescopes. And we say, oh, that's the edge of the universe. No, it's not. That's the edge from our egocentric perspective. That's as far as we can see. But the universe is infinite, which means that the galaxies within it exist within an infinite universe. There is no end to them. They're everywhere, way beyond anything that we could possibly conceive. Infinity. We cannot conceive of infinity because we're finite. You know, we live 100 years, pop our clocks, that's the end of us. So what Charlie said to me is, shared with me, is that our galaxy, the one we're living, our present galaxy, has existed at its present level, apart from a little hiccup that happened quite a few billion years ago, for 66 billion years. Is it true? Why should it be true? There's absolutely no reason why it couldn't be true. I don't know what the truth is, but it's as true as saying that the whole universe has been around for 13 billion years. So now let's move away from here to the unseen dimension of the soul, because in a way, the soul and the infinity of our universe are one. They're simply different levels. And at the level of the soul, because there is no matter, there is no movement, there is no breakup, there is no transformation, there is no time. And so the soul dimension exists in a limbo where the past, present, for us, future to be, it's all one. Hard to conceive, right? So for us, the past has happened. It's rigid. All the Superman log of going back in time, forget it. Fantasy. The past has happened for us. But even at the soul dimension, even though souls experience our past in the now, it cannot be changed because it's happened. It has solidified at the physical level. The present, now the moment, is where choices are made. But choices, don't get confused and think that you're making choices, because most of the choices you make are not your choices. There was one scientist, 18th, 19th century, who came up with the perception, the idea, the discovery of Brownian motion, which means that in a cup of tea, everything is constantly moving. Everything is walking against each other. All the molecules, all the atoms, they're all interacting with each other. So predicting where any particular atom is going to be at any moment in time requires a supercomputer way beyond our conception. So here we are in the present, and the future is in a state of flux, and we interact with other people. And so we cannot predict. If I go out of my house, if I live in a place like London, I cannot predict if I'm going to get mapped, or if a shower's going to come all over me, or, I don't know, whatever. I mean, there's too many people. It's like Brownian motion in the tea, affecting each other. You just cannot guarantee what's going to happen. They may think, I'm going to go from here to work, but someone may nick your phone in the journey. Affect your day, right? You just don't know. You cannot predict what will happen. But there are probabilities. And one of the probabilities is that if I am walking to work in London and I've got a phone sticking out of my hand like that as I'm talking, someone's going to come and grab it off me on a bike. So you cannot predict the future exactly, but there are probabilities, right? So there's a good 50% chance that someone's going to nick that phone if you keep it out there in your hand as you're walking down the road. Sorry, I'm being a little flippant, but nevertheless, I'm making the case that our future is not fixed, but it is open to varying probabilities. And because we live with so many people, we are affected by that. There are other probabilities that affect us, like the movements of the planets. They all exert an influence on our internal organs, on our hormonal system. We are affected, like it or not, we are affected by all of this in different ways at different times. So there are probabilities, all right? I think that's the best we can hope for with regards to the future. But once that moment comes, once someone's nicked the phone, there's no going back in time. The phone's gone, someone's nicked it. There's a consciousness within human beings which can be experienced by other human beings. And this is part of the unseen world that reflects itself at the soul level. We tend to think of, for those of a religious bent, We're made by the maker of all, the creator, God. But that is not, according to Charlie, it's not strictly speaking true. Because the soul dimension, the souls, what we call the soul, is a reflection of God. God, the maker of all, is everything. Okay, the whole of creation is within God. It's not beyond God, it's not outside of God. The maker of all is everything. And if you've got a blank canvas, you cannot see yourself. There is nothing to be seen. If you're a blank canvas, there's nothing. You need contrast. And so the story goes, nobody knows. Okay, nobody knows what God is. Not even the soul dimension knows what God is. We know by inference. All of us know by inference. So the soul dimension knows itself by inference. So God separates itself and it creates a shadow of itself, the soul dimension. Now, God's love flows into the soul dimension. The soul dimension is a copy of God. The soul dimension also has the power of creation. The soul dimension is also stuck beyond time, and it wishes to know itself. And it is the soul dimension that creates the universe as we know it, the third dimension, the dimension of matter and time. The thing is that the universe is dead. It's matter. It's inanimate. There's no life within matter. So the ray from God, from the maker of all, this ray of love and will that comes through the soul dimension, it comes down through the soul into matter. It is the soul itself, though, don't get confused. It's the soul. It is the will, which comes from the maker of all, but it is soul that animates matter. So there is soul within all matter, everything. Every atom in this universe is animated by soul. From the lowest atom to the largest galaxy, there is soul at every step of the way. Different levels of soul, different congregation of soul, still soul. And just as God has a shadow, which is soul, so soul has a shadow. And this shadow of soul is in the fourth dimension. And this shadow, part of it, is disconnected from the rest of soul, which means it's disconnected from the ray of love, from the ray that comes directly from the maker of all. And this is a problem for us. It's part of the process. This is part of knowing itself. Everyone is trying to know itself. Okay, God is trying to know itself. The soul dimension is trying to know itself. And guess what? We are trying to know ourselves. Nothing changes. As above, so below. So we also have been imbued with this part of ourselves. And that is what we call the ego. And the ego is not bad, but the ego, when it's cut away from the love vibration, is not so good. So So consciousness within us comes from the soul dimension. It comes from our individual soul. There's a soul within us, and this soul is what allows us to be empowered. And that is our strength. When we are lost within the ego, within the mask, then we are disconnected from love. Now, this part of the soul dimension in the fourth dimension, I have chosen to also call it the Archons. The Archons is not me. That comes from the 2,000 years ago or so, when initially it was coined. I can't recall now exactly how. It may have been the Greeks, and then it was picked up by the agnostics. But it was a recognition that the universe is not created by God, and they said it was created by this dark power. No, that was a misconception. Although close to the truth, because looking at the world, it does appear to be that way. It does appear that it is a dark power that's created the universe. No, the universe was created by soul. Soul is good, but soul has got a small part of it, which is disconnected from the God energy. Just like we have a small part of us, our egos, which can be disconnected from the soul energy, from the God energy, from love. And we've got this dichotomy where the Archons, they're disconnected from the power of God. They're disconnected from love energy. And so they are relying on the fear energy that mankind has been afflicted. Well, all animals are afflicted with this. It's part of survival. This is how we survive. Fear is healthy, but fear can be a source of corruption. And the Archons, this Archon energy, this Archon soul dimension, they insidiously affect us by our unconscious, and they manipulate our egos. They manipulate this part of ourselves that's disconnected, so that we are constantly exerting this triggering negative energy of hate, of violence, of fear, and they feed on that. And to that extent, we ourselves become disconnected from the love of God. So, as above, so below, that's the process. If I show it to you from another perspective, let's look at the galaxy, the planets, our solar system. We can see that the sun is the source of light. This is the most powerful connection from the soul dimension onto this earth. This is if you, on a good sunny day, you can sit down and you can just, your cares can go, you can just relax, and this is great. But, too much, it can't be too much, right? Because we can't take it. We can only take so much. But the sun is the giver of life, and it feeds the planets. And so here we are on the earth, and you could say that the sun is the greater soul, the planet is the more immediate soul, through which this love feeds through to us. And then the moon revolves around the earth, and the moon is the archons. Okay, the moon is the archon energy, the moon is the ego, is that bit of us that's disconnected, which does not enjoy the life of the sun from the sun. So every step down from the maker of all through to the soul dimension, through to this universe, through the planets, down to us human beings, we gradually become more and more fractured and diluted. And around 10,000 years ago, we were inundated with a Kali Yuga effect, which essentially cut us off from this vibration of love from God in the same way that we are re-experiencing it now. And humanity descended into barbarism. The ego took over. The fears took over. I mean, it's no surprise. A lot of things have been happening to the earth, so it's no surprise. And about a year and a half ago, this Kali Yuga effect just stopped. It just went, boom, disappeared. Now, this was already known at the soul dimension that this event would happen. And over the last 10,000 years, many souls have come onto this earth and they all got stuck. And so they've been reincarnating again and again and again. And here we are today at this final incarnation on this earth for many people. For many, many people. I'm calling them the Wayfarers. You got to label them something. And so they came, you guys who listen to me, came here explicitly to wake up to the truth of yourselves. And the Kali Yuga has now stopped, and you can shine. You can begin to explore, to grow at a rate which was impossible before. Okay? There's nothing holding you back now apart from yourselves. And you are waking up. You are beginning to see the horror and the violence which exists in the world today. You know, I'm not going to go into the politics of it, but if you look around, you will see the violence is all around us. Before, it wasn't clear to you. You weren't seeing it before. You were too conditioned. But now you're starting to wake up to the violence. You're waking up to the manipulation. And all of this comes from the Archons. It is from the unseen forces. So one might well ask, if human beings are such individual egocentric personalities, worldwide, how is it possible for there to be such a worldwide disregard for human empathy? Because there is another part of the unseen that doesn't exist for the average human being. And I'll give you one more example. If you don't believe that the planet Pluto exists, would it still be there? Of course it would. We know that now because we can measure it, we can point at it, we can see it with telescopes. If you don't believe in the collective unconscious, could it possibly exist? Let's face it, when we speak of the individual unconscious, we are referring to a part of ourselves that is out of our awareness. We know it exists because if we are self-aware, we experience behaviors that leave us perplexed, regretful, and with a sense of guilt when we reflect on them. How does the saying go? I don't know what came over me. We see this irrational behavior in others. And this irrational behavior can be collectivized, just like thought patterns. We can be forced almost by osmosis to believe and interject certain ways of seeing the world. When I was a young man and flares became the fashion, I was loath to change. I liked my straight trousers. And yet, within 6 months, in spite of my initial distaste for them, I was happily wearing them. Jung referred to this unseen world as our individual unconscious, as well as the shadow that projects itself into the world to replay our internal conflicts. By the same token, our individual unconscious is part of the hidden pool to which all humanity contributes, which Jung labeled the collective unconscious. You might well ask, so why highlight something that is beyond our individual control? If the Archons are a real manifestation of that energy that is cut off from the ray of creation and are left chasing the scraps of human fear, where do you imagine it would find a home? Not in the full light of day, that's for sure. I will stop here, but stay tuned for the next episode as we explore the hidden dimension of the collective unconscious and how humanity is mere fodder for the hidden forces of the Archons. For all those of you who are joining my channel recently, many thanks. Thank you for liking, and thank you for being here. Bye for now. See you soon.